You
Saturday and Sunday.
Everybody ready? Chase, you ready? Okay, I'll call this meeting to order. This is the Town of Lake Luzerne Town Board Agenda Meeting, February 7th, 2026. Let's rise and salute the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thanks, everybody, for coming. We're gonna flip flop the first two items on.
Do a roll call first.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Okay. Councilman Narva. Councilwoman Pattis.
Here.
Councilwoman McMahon.
Here.
Supervisor Niles.
Here. Kind of flip flop the first two items. And unfortunately, the first item is executive session. Probably 10 or 15 minutes, so we have to pick everybody out, shut down the Zoom system. Except Melissa's going to explain some stuff to us. Do you have an agenda?
Yeah, I have one.
Okay.
Your motion.
I make the motion. I'll second it.
You're up next. You want to come up there so we can hear you better?
You see us?
Good deal. All set?
Set?
Okay, thanks. Bye.
Okay, we are reconvening at 4:18. Next item on the agenda is Jonathan Sokop of Cedarwood Engineering. He's going to give us an update on the $145,000 grant.
Yep.
He's working on the engineering, do some upgrades and repairs and so on and so forth to our water system.
Yep. Yeah.
You have the floor.
Awesome. All right. Well, I appreciate the introduction here. I'm just going to give an update where we're at in the process of what our goal is as far as schedule goes this year. So Ron was nice enough to meet us out on, I think, the coldest day of the year. I think it was about -100 wind chill when we decided to do our site verification. So what we're doing at this time is we're using existing with the time of year with where we're at. You know, we just got some quotes, which I'm going to go over next from some sub-consultants, which we're proposing to use on this project. And I'll give you the reasons why we're proposing to use them and what the need is. But essentially, for us to progress the project, we're going to be moving forward and just use existing LiDAR data for our survey and for our design so that we can progress design and permitting. Because our goal this year is to basically have everything designed, permitted, and approved so that when WIA grants are announced later this year, which last year they were, I think the due date was September 12th when they were due. So typically they're semi-consistent. So by that period, we're hoping to have full DOH approval so that we can show project readiness, because the funding that Supervisor Niles brought up is essentially covers your planning, design, and permitting. So what we need to find and what the purpose of this is basically progress the project so that we can have permitting approvals so that we can get another grant, hopefully for capital costs to do the actual construction and move the project along. So the scope of the project is one that's been a long time in the works. Is basically since around 2017, we've been submitting for New York State Environmental Facilities Corporation's WIA grants, which is Water Infrastructure Improvement Act. We've been unsuccessful going after the funding. It's just a competitive grant, and this is basically straight infrastructure. So the good news is you're fortunate that you don't have water quality concerns, which is a higher priority in the funding. These are more, antiquated infrastructure. So you do have the opportunity to get funding. It's just, this really helps us push it and shows project readiness. So with where we're currently at, we did get sub-consultant costs. So there's a few things in the works that we have to do. So we were amending the environmentals because we have essentially two areas. The phase one area is, I think, school, Lawrence, Church, and Hill Street water main replacement, which is a combination of different materials, but a lot of it is undersized galvanized water mains that are tuberculated. There's areas on Hill Street that are, very shallow, with ledge in the area that's known. So Ron knows there's been a lot of breaks in the areas that the town has had to repair. So we're trying to resolve that, put things deeper. So part of this, when we went and we broke out what we're calling a phase two, is not what we're currently going after funding for, but there's a separate section of basically, I think, what do we got? Is it Mill Street, Wall Street, Main Street, all the way up to the intersection of like the Stewart's intersection over there. So that's what we're going to be calling phase two. So with this money, we want to scope the engineering report to include that section so that you can utilize it to go after funding, and there'll be conceptual costs involved in that. But really the main design and progressing for the DASNY Crest grant is including phase one, which is the prior area described, and water tank rehabilitation. So the existing 5,000 or 500,000 gallon water storage tank has some exposed rebar. It just needs some upgrades to basically prolong its service life. So that's the total capital cost project. So in it, as we were updating environmentals, we were flagged by SHPO, which is the State Historic Preservation, basically wanting us to do an archaeological study. So it's even though the water main replacement is majorities in the roadway, there's some sections that go off the road to, go to a curb stop. And the water tank rehabilitation is essentially no disturbance. It's a rehabilitation from the outside and the inside of the water storage tank. we're still flagged. So we tried to fight it, but we have to comply. So with that, we have to do phase 1A, and then an archaeologist basically does a study, does a desktop study, looks at it, what the potential risks are, and then based on what's flagged in that, they'll do a 1B study, which is a field dig if they feel it's needed. So we did receive a cost for that, just below $5,000 for a firm to progress that. So what our goal is, and the reason I'm throwing these numbers out, is just to make sure that, we have a signed contract with the town to move this forward. We're planning to put this into our contract with no additional markup, just work with the sub-consultants to move this along. So that's one piece. Another sub we are proposing to use is a geotechnical sub for subsurface investigation, because what we want to do is the due diligence the best we can at this time so that we can do some subsurface borings. They'll take some pavement cores in the area so that we have a good detailed engineering estimate. So when it comes time for us to update the engineering report prior to submitting for funding, we can update our engineering estimates and know exactly what our pavement restoration is going to be, and then delineate to the best of our knowledge how much rock removal we're going to get into. Because if we don't do it, you're flying blind, and the cost, the last time we got a price for rock removal, you're well over $300 a cubic yard. So it adds up very, very quick, depending on who's bidding it. So especially on the Hill Street area, I don't know if you know of any specific other zones we're looking at that we may hit it, but what we typically do is, we got a quote to do borings every 200 to 300 feet in the areas. And what they'll do is they'll go down to 10 feet until they hit refusal. If they hit refusal, it could, typically they do a 2-inch split spoon. So it could be a cobble, but essentially we'll have them move a little bit further down the line, drill further, and if they hit refusal, then we have the opportunity to do a rock core. When they do a rock core, they can determine, how much rock we're getting into. They can pull it, they can evaluate it, determine how competent the rock is, so that we have a good idea of what the contractor's methodology for rock removal is going to have to be. So that one is a bigger one. It's a higher cost. We're over $13,000 for that. That's an initial estimate, and the window can shift greatly depending on how much additional rock coring we have to do, because typically to delineate it, we may say, okay, we hit it here, let's move 25 feet down the line. Do we hit it here, and what's the depth? Because if we're below where we need to get for frost depth, then we know we're good. Just so we can have a real accurate estimate, and it's not a surprise during construction, and find out if we do get construction money that you're going to have enough to complete the job, essentially. And then the third one is a survey. So like I said before, for us to advance this with this time of year, obviously there's snow on the ground and there's only so many points we can shoot. So we did go out with, and appreciate your help, Ron, just shooting a couple of the zones and a couple of the valves that we could find, so that we can go off the LiDAR data to basically put together a permitting drawing set. And then what we'll do is, once we have enough, whether weather cooperates, which it doesn't look like it's gonna yet, I was hoping it'd stay like this, where we could progress the survey, we're gonna use local Darrow Land Surveying, which we have a good relationship with and have had good luck with. So that also helps us if you get funding moving forward. Say you get EFC funding, there's strings attached, there's MWBE requirements. So they're a woman business enterprise. So that also helps with our future goals if you do get funding. So they would do the licensed land surveying as far as generating the property boundaries and the topo surveying and everything else. So those are the sub-consultants we're looking at. So we're around the $35,000 mark. And like I said, it'll likely end up being more than that once we get into the full rock cores and determine that in the field. That's basically us going there when the geotech is in the field and making those decisions. We don't want to go above and beyond, but we do want to get enough information. So like I said, there's not going to be surprises during construction, just to delineate that rock zone on Hill Street where we end up. So within that, like I said, it's no markup on our contract. We funnel that through us. I just wanted to let the town know, because for us to move forward, I have to sign these proposals, and those invoices will be coming once they get scheduled. So I just want to make sure if there's any, concerns with that, I'm happy to provide everything to the town, as our contract is with the town. So we're not hiding anything.
Is the survey 35,000?
No,
Total project?
No, that's total with the 3 subs. So the survey breakout And this, again, this is phase one. With phase two, what we felt is the money isn't enough to really get you through design for that phase two area too. So it's 16,000 for the survey, essentially for the zone of the phase one. The archaeological study is just under 5,000. And then it's a little over 13,000 for the geotechnical investigation. And we got a couple different quotes on the geotech just to make sure we had the best pricing on it. The next quote up was over double that cost. And again, that 13,000 and change, that's without the rock cores thrown in. They give you a linear foot on rock cores depending on what you need. So those are $105 a linear foot. So until we get out there, we just have enough of a wiggle room that, we can make sure we get it done and get the information we need.
Yep.
Yep. And again, that would go under all the existing contract we have that would be covered by the costs of the DASNY Crest grant. Does anybody have any other questions on that piece?
Those numbers are or are not in the 150.
They are. They are. Yep. We'll take that out of that
Basically,
contract.
you're kind of asking us to give you the okay to.
Yeah, we have to sign the sub consultant agreement essentially, and I just want to make sure that it's not going to be a shock that these invoices come in, that, the town has a methodology to essentially pay them moving
Do
forward.
you need anything formal from us?
No, we have a signed agreement. I'm trying to be transparent. We're happy to provide everything to you as far as our sub agreements as well. So you have them.
One
Yeah,
tangential question.
Yep.
Within 24 hours, we had 2 breaks up in the Heights about a month ago. None of this work is up in the Heights, is it?
no, we had the Heights area previously. Was that in areas that were replaced or no, new or old stuff?
What area?
Well, I'm saying where the breaks were.
Oh,
Because the Heights, remember we had a section, but I think you replaced it on your own in the Heights. That was poly you laid down.
Hendricks, Lakeview, portion that was done.
Yeah,
Pierpont was one of your leaks there.
Well, that was a
Sylvan.
valve that was leaking.
Yeah.
That wasn't an actual break.
mhm,
Okay,
That was an old valve that we found after 20-something years. That was leaking.
mhm.
And then the other on Pierpont was another 4-inch valve that was leaking.
Oh, geez,
It's just old.
just all hitting that once, yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. And like I said, I don't wanna, you gotta be careful when you balloon these things, but if we're early enough in for the year too, if there's certain things you wanna look at, we can absolutely take a look. Like our main concentrated zone is the phase one as it was written in the original WIA, which is essentially this, school, Lawrence Hill and Church Street, the cluster right there, and then the water tank rehabilitation. Those are the big items. But anything beyond that, if you want it covered as part of like the overall scope, we can we can look in that.
what? Can we shift money around in the grant or are there
So
schedule of values already sort of set?
I think,
Here's why I asked.
I-
We did some work on a water tank already.
Mhm.
Some of the budget that's part of the grant may be for that work that we've already done and paid for.
It could be what we were
I'm not
doing.
sure.
Yeah, what we were doing. And, I may have us we're working with a contractor currently to update our pricing on the tank rehabilitation. Because what we are looking to do is a pretty comprehensive rehabilitation. And what that means is completely draining the tank. So it's a big money project when you drain the tank, and before we drain it, there's a rental where we'd set up, they have these large 25,000 gallon hydropneumatic tanks. And really, we could set them either by the well house or, whether we wanted to set them up by the tank, it's probably easier down by the well house. You set them up at a similar atmospheric pressure with a pressure switch so that you can take your tank offline. We drain the tank, and you're doing a complete internal and external rehabilitation with a brand new coating and an internal NSF coated liner as well on top of that. And with the hope that basically you're prolonging the life of that tank another, 30 plus years. So on top of that, we're working with the contractor because there's some preliminary work where we want to do some additional investigation, because I know there's been some minor upgrades over time, and we want to make sure that the money takes us as far as you can. But I think that tank is going to be one of the highest value items on this.
And the
Contract.
stuff we did, we
Yeah.
definitely did not drain it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe it was just external parging and covering some of the spots where rebar was exposed previously. That's probably what it is. So, you know, this is kind of above and beyond. And like I said, we'll group the town in as we move forward because we're gonna do another inspection of that tank. And we'll make sure we share those results as we move along, because the last thing we want to do is blindly recommend, you know, we had an initial conceptual recommendation, right, with the report, but we want to do our due diligence so that whatever is recommended is going to give you the longest useful life at, you know, at the lowest capital cost, essentially. So we can look into that. As far as what can be done with the money, I think the scope was really, you know, the prior WIA stuff. You know, we're going to group in the engineering report just to cover the conceptual costs, to have a conceptual cost estimate of the phase 2 items added in. And that's really it. But if there's other things you want to group, you just got to be careful how much you balloon it, because they want to see that project turn into an overall, you know, formal project. And that's a bigger pie you got to get for the construction piece. So, but we're happy to discuss.
I haven't gotten an update in probably a month on the grant. I think it's called the STAG.
Was that the House appropriation?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The last update I got from Lee Stefanik's
Yeah.
office was that it had passed the Senate.
Okay.
So I'll contact them.
Yeah, and if that comes through, the town will be in great shape as far as moving forward, because I think with the way that one was written, that's more money than you would receive if you obtain a WIA grant. So, you know, you'd really be covering your capital cost portion. So if we stick to that prior estimate.
Anybody else? I'm thinking maybe you pick the time, you know, 2 or 3 months, come on back and.
Yeah, absolutely. And we're progressing plans right now. So next time I come, I can share draft plans. And then obviously before that, we'll meet with you, Ron, and Jim as well, just to go through and make sure we're speccing absolutely everything you guys want and just make sure we're on the same page.
This is tangent, but Jonathan, Ethan Gaddy, the county planner, and a gal from Lake George, Lake Champlain Regional Planning Board were meeting on Thursday to talk about several infrastructure kind of type things. And
Yeah.
see what we can.
Yeah.
Scratch up there and.
Yeah, sometimes there's things you can do, like if there's undeveloped parcels that can tie in to go after, you know, like economic growth for ESD funding or some other items. So just so we're all putting our heads together, you know, we're not opposed to anything. Anything we group in with other sources of funding, there's always strings attached, right? We just want to make sure we comply and we start those discussions as early as possible. So if this changes our scope a little bit after that meeting, it'll be good news for the towns. We can include it this early on. So.
Thanks a lot for coming up.
Yeah, absolutely. Appreciate
Thank you.
everybody's time.
Thank you.
Thank you. Have a nice night.
You too.
Laura, I think you're up. Abstracts.
Proposed resolution to pay the bills of the 4th abstract of 2026 as presented. General fund vouchers 6189 to 6231, $25,704.47. Highway fund vouchers 6232 to 6253, $20,507.59. SW1 Water District Fund vouchers 6254 to 6256, $8,869.30. Do we have a motion?
I make the motion. A second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Hearing none carried. Proposed resolution to transfer $2,075 from the Lake Forest Dam account to the general fund for bond council fees.
To give you just a little bit of explanation, the bond was signed, we got the money from the bond. And we were told that that the legal fee we've already incurred can be paid for by that bond, so we're just moving the money back.
Reimbursed.
Yeah.
That's good. Make a motion.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Hearing none carried. Proposed resolution to authorize the supervisor to enter into and execute a contract with Warren County as it pertains to aquatic invasive species for 2026.
A little explanation, Mary reviewed that and she's fine with it. It's the same contract we had last year. $41,666.66. We use that to take care of the lakes. Here's a copy of the contract, if anybody wants to see it.
Without it, which is budgeted already. which is in your budget already?
Yeah, it is.
Okay.
We put a little bit less in the budget for what the contract is.
Do we have a motion?
I'll make the motion.
Second,
Second.
All in favor?
aye.
Opposed? Hearing none carried. Proposed resolution authorizing highway superintendent to purchase a new sander. I just need specifics on that.
He sent them.
Oh, I'm sorry, what's that word?
I need to know about the sander, what kind it is, what model, how much.
Brian, can you provide that information? I know you got 3 quotes. It was just under,
I will forward that to you.
Okay.
I don't have that.
was it $5,900?
How
much was it?
53. And
Okay.
the 2 other quotes were above 6,000.
We remember seeing.
I do.
Yeah, we've seen this. Those
I'll
needs to
take
go.
that motion.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'll second it.
Yes.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Hearing none carried. Proposed resolution authorizing the highway superintendent to purchase a new plow. Is that a live edge plow?
That is a live edge plow. I have, there's the company, and that is a sole source purchase. It's our new style plows that we are using now. The one that I'm replacing is a protocol for this area that we bought like over 10 years ago. So it's old. It's had its time. So this is gonna replace that.
How much is this?
19,184.75.
I contacted Mary to try to get
Mhm.
a good feeling that this is in fact a sole source, and basically she agreed that it's the only place where I can figure out where to get it. So I'm reasonably comfortable with that explanation.
Good.
I'll make that motion.
I'll
And it's in
second.
Ron's budget.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Hearing none carried. Proposed resolution authorizing the supervisor to enter into and execute contract with the town of Warrensburg as it pertains to highway maintenance.
I passed out copies a few
Yeah.
minutes ago of that
Yep.
contract. Mary wrote it herself. Does anybody have any questions?
I'm just a little confused on the 5,000. And then for this year. It isn't, so we're just,
When we started this several
Yeah.
months ago,
it was in November.
yeah, we got feedback from Warrensburg, and feedback was, why didn't you come to us, blah, blah, blah. So we
Okay.
agreed that we would go easy on them this year. That's why it's 5,000.
So we won't get that till the end of the year then. You think?
We didn't put it in here kind of on purpose as the one we're gonna bill
Okay,
them. I wanted a little leeway, so I didn't put it in here.
okay. That's all. All right, thank you.
So they have time to put it into their budget.
Yeah.
So it's 5,000 for 2026.
And it's, yeah, 5,000. For this year and 11,368 for next year.
For 2007 or 2027, I mean.
And what it's for is plowing and sanding. It's not, Ron, it's not for any mowing or anything. It's just for plowing and sanding. Some of those other county things you have to mow, right? For some of those.
Yeah, we gotta go through it once,
Yeah,
old stage.
yeah, there's 2 rates, once a year and twice a year.
Yeah.
But that's not in here.
All right, I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Hearing none carried. Proposed resolution to purchase the Honda CRV.
Give you some background there. Some of this you already heard. The lease ends in April. The Kelly Blue Book is 28,000 to 31,200. It has 4,468 miles on it. It's a 2023. The buyout is 22,301. And in round numbers, rough numbers, Colleen figures it'll be around $500 a month. But I'm told by Colleen and Lori that they actually have to go through the bond process to do this. So I guess at this point, what I'm asking for is approval to do that bond process. Are we in agreement to not buy it?
I think we
Yes.
need to buy it, yeah.
I kind of looked at it like if we were to trade that in or re-up the lease, we're paying for 10,000 miles a year, whether you use them or not.
Right.
Yeah. They already
That kind of
talked
a skill tip for me.
Mhm.
I'm not looking for ways to spend more money, especially this year. It is, the lease, Chuck, she told me, I think she said the lease is just under 400 a month now. So we're approximately going to pay another $100 a month, but after 4 years, we won't.
Right.
Everybody all right with that?
So it's 500 for 4 years?
Thoughts? And she just looked on it at an amortization chart.
Okay.
I think she used 4% because the bond is just floated from month, which is 3 3/4.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Hearing none carried. Now, I don't know if we have to go through. We have to ask Mary, we have to publish the apostle notice and all that, and then
For
for the bond.
the CR, for the
Yeah.
car. Yeah,
Yeah, I'll have to ask her about that.
we got a little bit of time. We have to. Well, one other thing Colleen and I talked about is this time of year, cash flow is good. So we have to buy it, we'll buy it on cash flow and then repay it with the bond. The lease ends. I don't know if it's the 1st of April, it's an
I
early.
think it's 14th or something. I think she had,
Yeah.
yeah. Mhm.
Yeah, we may have time to get it all done in the March, 2 March meetings.
Yeah.
but I'm not positive on that.
Once we finally pulled the trigger on the Northwood stand, I think we had the money 3 days later,
Okay.
$400,000 or whatever it was. Okay,
So if we do a bond, it's not a monthly payment. I don't believe, I think it's annually.
yeah, and probably the first payment wouldn't be till the end of the year,
The first payment would be a year from when you close on the bond,
yeah.
I believe. I'm learning about the bond stuff. I don't know a lot about it yet, but yeah,
That was the case with the Northwoods one, right?
yes. It was a year later that we make our first payment.
Yeah.
So that'll
So
work
that'll help
because
us
then
out
we'll have
cash flow
tax
wise.
money coming in.
Right, yeah.
To make that first payment.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, proposed resolution allowing the Adirondack Motor Enthusiastic Club to hold their annual race event on Lake Luzerne, February 21st and 22nd, and to provide insurance with the town of Lake Luzerne as additional insured. Do we have some
I
type
don't-
of
what is
agreement?
that?
We don't need to have a resolution for that, I don't believe. I don't think we've had
We've
one.
always made resolutions
we?
for people
Oh,
for
okay,
whenever
sorry.
they come here to do stuff like
Mhm.
that.
Is this the same as the
Car races.
like, okay. George car
No,
races?
no,
This is the car races.
This is the car race.
This is the car races.
Okay, that's what I wasn't sure. I'm gonna add that into the
Yeah, because
cost to the town.
Right.
annual car race.
Usually.
I saw they're
Okay.
promoting it, so.
I didn't know if they were the same. I mean, because we've already,
They sent us a sample certificate of insurance. I think that was from the Lake George Winter Carnival.
They're the ones, like George Winter Carnival are the ones that get these people to do it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cause they're the ones promoting it. It's like George Carnival.
it was $1 million, $2 million umbrella policy. They've assured me on the phone that we won't have any expenses. They're gonna get the porta potties, they're doing everything. They'll
Yeah.
test to make sure it's safe, so on and so forth.
and we didn't have any problem last year. With that.
I can't remember if that was through the carnival or if that was direct.
I thought it was through the carnival.
I think it was.
Yeah.
Because they were gonna have it and they couldn't because of the weather.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna add to the resolution, with no expense to the town, just so the resolution is very
Yep.
And
specific.
can you also put the Lake George Winter Carnival associated with Lake George Winter
Okay.
Carnival? or affiliated with or something.
The lady that contacted me would be Don Dura's sister,
Sister-in-law, right?
her husband and Don are brothers.
Mhm.
And they live here in town, I believe.
Do we have a motion?
I'll make the motion. Since
Okay.
nobody else wants to make any motions.
I'll make it.
All in favor?
Well,
Opposed? Hearing none carried.
Thank
With that being said, I explained to supervisor today. I'm sure they're going to have food vendors and stuff there. They need to come to see me.
Yes.
Yeah, I put them on
You did
notice.
put that, right?
I put them on notice with that last week, but I'll follow up on that.
Yeah, cause like I said, Friday, I mean, I have to be out of here by 4, so I can't be staying late because they waited that too
Mhm.
long.
I'll be in tomorrow.
Okay.
Pester me on that.
Oh, I will. I wanna get them in here if they're gonna need permits.
See if Jamie could put a little blurb on the town website about it.
If they have some type of a flyer, they could.
I asked her for one and all she gave me was a little schedule. It's not something you'd want to put on a website. And I asked our unofficial parks commissioner, he already put it on the sign in front of the park.
Okay, so
Yeah, I saw
I'll
that.
ask Jamie to put something up.
Okay. Next item. Transfer station scale. The scale was down over a week. And our guesstimated loss of revenue would be somewhere on the order of $100 a day, $70 to $100 a day, and that's a dartboard guess for Rick. So what I want to do is briefly discuss what do we want to do next time it happens. I got involved, and as soon as I knew what the part was, I called the company, and the part shipped that afternoon, and we got it fixed the next day. It took 4 or 5 days for the guy to get there. At first, he thought it was just ice and snow messing up the piston setups in there, but they covered it over and put a salamander in there for 2 days, and it still didn't work. It turned out to be some electronic board. So what do we want to do for that? That's what I want to ask you guys.
We need their number so we can call someone. Get it the next day.
Want to get it fixed?
That's not always possible.
Yeah.
though.
They Mettler Toledo, and by the way, the scales get kind of old too. Mettler Toledo's their main base and warehouse and stuff is in Toledo, Ohio. But what they have apparently is contracts with these service guys. And I used to have contracts like that when I was in the HVAC business. You're at their mercy. That contractor is a contractor. He's doing other work for other
Mhm.
people as well. But when you call Toledo and say we need the scales fixed, they call their regional contractors and say who can get there first. Sometimes it's a couple days.
what's the alternative?
I don't know.
No, when if something breaks, fix it. Can't have two sitting around, right?
Yeah. Now, I asked Rick how often we have problems with that scale. And it's not that often. I was surprised. I think this is the first time it hasn't worked for, more than a couple hours in several years. So I'm not alarmed. They just ordered today some rubber skirting to kind of modify and fabricate to try to keep the weather from getting under that scale. They spent a couple $100 today on rubber, real heavy rubber, like matting.
Is that what broke the scale in the first place?
I don't think so, because what actually failed is an electronic board. And it wasn't.
But it has froze up in the past.
It has, yeah.
Yes.
It has, yeah.
Yeah.
For like a day, they got it undone, but yeah, it has before.
I don't
It'll
think
be
our
worth-
failure, this last one had anything to do with the weather. They showed me, he's got the little scale in there, on truck drives on it, the scale was going up and down all over the place. 33,000, 12,200 up and down the numbers.
Mhm.
So I don't think that had anything to do with the weather.
But it's fixed now.
It's fixed now.
I think you're trying to figure out what you're gonna do if it goes down again.
Yeah,
because-
I believe in board decisions. But I had to make a decision right away, so I told him not to charge people. Adam suspects that some people learned about that and came back 2 or 3 times.
Mhm.
In the past, when it was down, they charged like a minimum of $1 a bag. Now, the problem is we don't really have a policy.
Yeah.
So that's something that the board might want to consider, some type of a protocol policy if this happens again.
If you want to think about it, we can talk about it again next weekend, or if you got ideas for our next meeting.
Yeah, because they should pay at least, I think the
Something.
minimum is $2 on the scales, I think.
Well, then that's what it would. be.
So I think it should be a minimum of $2 you have to pay, you know. That's my thought on it.
Yeah.
You should have to pay something.
Yeah, I've been over there with, and Adam. He has, I mean, he's got a good judgment on what it's gonna cost, because he'll guess. You're gonna be X, Y, Z, and he was pretty much right on.
He made the statement, though, that it's illegal to
Guesstimate.
guess weights.
If he's saying, I think you've got $5 worth there. It's giving you that option. Do you want to pay the $5 or do you want to take it back with you?
And
I
what
mean, he's not saying, hey, you gotta pay $5 because you're sitting on my scale.
if somebody shows up with a pickup truckload of old shingles? Could easily be a ton.
Well,
I'm
he's gonna have to review
throwing
it or
it.
something, yeah.
exaggerating.
But I mean, we've hired him. And now he's our transfer station expert. And I think we would need his input on what we should do on that.
Oh,
okay.
That's what I think.
So you might want to authorize him to make that judgment call, because
Mhm.
it's my understanding that he will not do that.
Okay,
That was my understanding.
this is, okay.
I'll get some more feedback from Adam and Rick.
I mean, of course, this is worst case scenario if it happens.
Right.
And the options would be not to close the transfer station until we get it fixed, or have an estimate. That's my 2 cents.
Get some,
Dave, are you still out there?
No.
No. Okay. He must have lost his signal.
But yeah, I think you need some type of a policy with protocol if it happens.
yeah. If anybody comes up with any ideas or more questions, let me know.
Or
You know,
at least some suggestions from Adam and Rick. Is it Rick that would do it, or highway? Would it be Rick?
It's Rick,
Rick?
yeah.
I would like to
And
see
then-
what they would come up with.
Right, and then it'd be up to you guys to make that policy.
Yeah.
I'd like to leave
You
the
good with that?
discussion on upcoming resolutions to last. I've just got a couple kind of more
Okay.
like announcements and anything.
Mhm.
Fire company had their fishing tournament on the lake Saturday. And Greg Notarski told me they had 82 kids signed up.
Nice.
And I went out and took some pictures. It was really neat. I don't know if the fire company needs any help from us to do it next year, but I think we should think about offering it. I never seen so many people one place enjoying themselves out in whatever the temperature was, 20-degree weather. They were just having a ball. It just happened. One of Greg's guys gave me a ride around the lake on one of those tanks, whatever you call those machines. And I just happened to come up on Logan Brooks. And his little girl's pulling a fish out of a hole in the water. Right as we went by, she ended up getting the 5th place prize for the fish I saw her pull out of the water. Just smile on their faces.
Yeah.
Our dam, Lake Luzerne Dam. We just submitted, Labella submitted a letter to DEC with a whole bunch of backgrounds. It's like a 10-page packet to try and get the dam reclassified from a B to an A, which is a
Mhm.
less monitored dam. That's moving along. County sales tax, the year ended a little bit better than normal, so we'll get a little bit more money, probably $10,000-12,000 more than we budgeted. We did figure it would go up, but it went up a little more than we budgeted. With Dane being away, Colleen is authorized as a kind of like an emergency signature on stuff, so
Mhm.
does anybody have any problems? She's gonna be signing all these paychecks and stuff for the next couple of weeks.
Yeah, that's fine.
She gave us a balance sheet.
Yeah.
I would respectfully request that if you don't know how to read that thing, which I didn't, so I'm not saying anything. There's only a couple of columns that you really need to look at in detail, so. If you can find it, everybody get it?
Yes.
Find the one that like 5 or 6 lines down has general fund in parentheses. Should be the top. Should look like this. You find it?
Yeah.
Okay, the part that I always do. Go to the second page. That second page. And the top half of the third page, that's revenues. If you look at the second page of all the numbers, it's very small letters shows you where that ends.
Right. Mhm.
Okay, and if you look at the top of the columns, it's real easy. It's self-explanatory. So let me remind you that the town board is responsible for money in the town. Supervisor is the budget officer, but all that means is that he's the guy that reminds the town board of political stuff.
Got it.
Here's my list.
I like this.
I have EMS written down here to remind myself. Do you guys want to talk about that at all? I saw them all at the Lions Club meeting. Either Monday or Tuesday night, he assured me that the attorney is finally looking at it. It's the only update I have. They agree with it. I'm not gonna let go. So. Anybody has any ideas how, Hadley's attorney was away on vacation for some period of time, a week or presumably, I don't know, but she's back.
Well, they did receive it it was before the end of the year, last
They had
December.
it for 5 or 6 weeks before she went on vacation.
But it is what it is. People are busy. But yeah, I would like to keep pursuing it. I mean, it's just it's a protection for all 3 sources.
A month ago, I sat down and read it. We need to get that. to
Yeah.
get it updated. If something happened. We'd be more blind than deers in their headlights. So there's no documentation requirements in that contract as to how the money flows. There's one line and it's wrong.
Right. But Pam and I did sit with Colleen for over an hour. And got on Colleen's perspective of how things flow. And when I went to the EMS meeting, their board meeting, I asked questions on how it flowed, and it was not anything close to what
They don't know.
they don't. But Colleen's showing me that all statements are addressed to them. So they've got to be receiving the statements. Well, the statements are being mailed to them.
Yeah.
They have their own PO box, and that Pam corrected the PO box number, was it?
No, it was the street address.
Street address?
Street address is wrong.
So if that happens to be an issue, but I guess Pam, you were saying that it was going to the firehouse instead of to the.
Yeah, they deliver their packages. When Barry orders things off Amazon, they deliver them at the firehouse instead of EMS.
So I will go to another board meeting just to verify that they are getting their statements and just, I think we should all be on the same page.
Yeah.
Because if they're thinking one thing and we're thinking another thing, it's another reason why we need that contract.
We all want the same thing. It's just how
Yeah.
do we get there?
Exactly, but I mean, you'd like to know, okay, if I have a bank account, this is what my balance is, then I don't have to call 2 different towns to find out, well, what's my balance? The balance is going to them. If they're not receiving that, they need to know. That's just what. You
That's-
agreeing on that?
Mhm.
Yeah.
That's all the little things I had. Does anybody else have anything that's appropriate for a agenda meeting?
Bills, minutes, you guys?
I had one thing I thought, Eric Moses, Luzerne Woods, had
Mhm.
sent to Lori a request, it was to the town board, it was to name 2 streets up in the proposed development. 911, the office over in Queensbury, planning at the 911 numbering office over in Warren County, had contacted us, they have submitted their subdivision map, and so 911 has assigned numbers to all of the lots aligning along Milrose Lane that will be developed in there. Off of Milrose Lane is another road that is called Road B, and then the entrance off of Lake Tour Road into this development is Road C. Eric Moses is proposing to name Road B Adirondack Court and Road C Cedar Brook Court. And we need a resolution from the town board for those names in that development so that they can assign the 911 addresses. This is the first time I think that I've seen them do the 911 numbering prior to the lots actually being developed or advertised or sold or anything. But I think it's because they're trying to get the infrastructure in there and they may need those numbers to do that.
Mhm.
So that will be at the next town board meeting, a resolution for that.
Okay, is there a problem with those names at all, or do we already
Not,
have?
no, we do not have, I don't believe we have anything in town run. Adirondack Court, Cedar Brook Court. I don't, yeah, I think we're fine.
So you're gonna do up a proposed resolution for our meeting, next meeting?
Yeah, or
Okay.
someone will ask,
Together.
yeah.
Have Mary help us.
Yeah. And that's all I really have at this point.
Okay. Any guys have any stuff you wanna put on the agenda for next time? Is everybody gone?
Yeah.
We done? Make a motion, we adjourn,
Sure, I'll second that.
all in favor?
Hi.
Aye.
Thank you.